welcoming you back to the Silverstone Museum social media channels, and today we're going to be talking two wheels rather than our usual four, and I've got two extra special bikes to show you. The first one is this, and really the rider of this bike needs very little introduction. The legend Valentino Rossi, the multiple motorcycling world champion, and it started with this bike back in 1997. This was the 125 bike that Valentino Rossi won his first MotoGP world title on it. And the first thing that jumps at you when you get up close to this bike and you can see it is that iconic 46 in bright yellow that he had donned throughout his career. If we have a quick look at this bike though, a couple of things you notice about it. We've got the kind of tiny little fuel tank and a kind of really crouched riding position. You look at the riders in this period of time, really crouched, kind of hunched over that tank. Very young, the riders in this, kind of 16, 17, 18 years old. We've got, I don't know if Laura can get the camera in here, you can see parts of the bike here, carbon fibre, along with the metal chassis and other carbon fibre trim further around the bike here. Also, as you can bring the camera up and have a quick look at the dash in here, relatively basic for back in the late 1990s. You've got that very clear rev counter. We've got the fact that there were two bikes that year in 1997, and this is the second of the bikes, and very importantly, this one has been autographed by Valentino Rossi himself. Relatively simple, almost kind of stock bike to an extent. You can buy bikes like these, they are quite expensive, but very quick, and the kind of bike where the young riders learn their trade before they move up to the next bike I'm going to show you, which is the full MotoGP spec bike. And this one has a lot of links to us here at Silverstone. This bike won the 2016 MotoGP Grand Prix here, being used by Maverick Vinales. This is a Suzuki, the GSXR, but no longer does Suzuki compete, unfortunately, in MotoGP, so we're really quite privileged to have this bike on display with us. A couple of the little features that we notice very different to a road bike, the prototype bikes. Firstly, you've got huge carbon brakes, incredibly effective stopping power on such a quick machine. However, no good in the wet conditions, but certainly for the dry conditions, this is an incredibly effective brake. You've also got aerodynamic features on the bike. You can see here the wings, and these, if you look at MotoGP bikes now, moving almost 10 years on from, not certainly 9 years on from when this bike was developed, these aero features are at the front and the rear of the bike, but we're in the early developments of these aero features. You can see the little fins sitting here, and aerodynamics is certainly features in the way the riders are kind of situated on the bike. Looking at the dash here, we've got the digital dash. We've again got lots of carbon fibre surrounds here, keeping the bike as light as possible. The MotoGP regulations mean that these bikes are very much prototypes. They're certainly not stock type of item, even though they kind of, to those of you who don't necessarily know lots, they are kind of look very much stock bikes, but they are very much prototype bikes. Again, lots of use of carbon fibre, and the thing that always jumps out at me when we have the MotoGP bikes running here, these exhausts and the noise that these bikes produce. Incredibly high revving, and here at Silverstone they'll get around the Grand Prix circuit in a time of about 2 minutes, but with these exhausts and the way in which they rev, when you stand in one place, it's a bit like F1 of old. You can almost hear where the bikes are, and you can hear through the gear changes and when the riders are accelerating and decelerating, almost where they are around the track. It's a lovely bike. We've had it here at the museum for a little while. It's a great pleasure to actually show it to you on video, and it's going to be here at the museum across 2025 for you to get up close to and ask some of our team of volunteers any questions about it should you have them. But it's a real pleasure to have it here at the museum.